Take us home, Representative Campos. The chair lays out House Bill 4702 and recognizes Representative Campos to explain her bill. The chair also offers up a committee substitute for House Bill 4702. Your microphone, please.
Thank you, Chairman Frank and Madam Chair Rose and members of the committee for allowing me to lay out House Bill 4702 relating to peer support specialists and peer support services for individuals with intellectual or development disabilities. Intellectual or development disabilities includes many severe chronic conditions that are due to mental and or physical impairments. People who have IDD have problems with major life activities such as language, mobility, learning, self-help, and independent living. A recently completed pilot project implemented through a grant from the Texas Council of Development Disabilities found that peer support for and by people with IDD resulted in documented improvements in person-centered planning, service navigation, self-advocacy skills, critical thinking skills, and employment abilities. HB 1429 would establish a work group to identify certification pathways and training mechanisms to implement a statewide Medicaid billable peer support for and by people with IDD. With input from the work group outlined in this legislation, the Health and Human Services Commission and the Executive Commission would be required to adopt rules to establish accessible and validated training requirements, certification and supervision of peer support specialists, and scope of services to be provided. The peer support services would be subject to Medicaid funding, regulations, and limitations. Major stakeholders of this legislation include NAMI Texas, Texas Self Advocates, and the ARC of Texas. I'm open for questions and reserve the right to close.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions? All right, we will certainly retain your right to close. Chair calls Isabel Casas, better, Texas Council on Community Centers for the bill. And I've got Dennis Burrell on deck. I've got you as Isabel Casas, Texas Council of Community Centers for the bill. Is that correct?
Yes. Great, great accent.
I tried. I tried.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Good evening, Chair Frank, Vice Chair Rose, and members. My name is Isabel Casas, and I am the Government Relations Director for IDD Services for the Texas Council of Community Centers. The Texas Council is the association that represents the state's 39 local IDD authorities, which serve all 254 counties in Texas, and we support HB 4702. As you know, local IDD, mental health, and behavioral health authorities serve as the front door for Texans seeking IDD and mental health services. In 2017, LMHAs and LBHAs from our system were engaged in the implementation of Chair Price's HB 1486 and have since provided recovery-based peer support services for individuals with mental health and substance use conditions. Peers offer emotional support, share knowledge, teach skills, honor self-determination, and connect others with resources. And by having their own lived experience, peer support specialists are exceptionally positioned to assist others who are beginning their own recovery journey. Because individuals with IDD disproportionately experience co-occurring mental health conditions, peer support services are valuable for helping individuals with IDD navigate stress and frustration that result from social challenges, experiencing abuse, bullying, and other trauma. Increasing access to this service will provide individuals with IDD more resources to develop social skills while learning how to advocate for their own needs. Additionally, the community will grow for individuals with IDD to give and receive mutual support from others with similar lived experiences. Thank you for your time today, and we appreciate your favorable consideration of HB 4702.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions? Thank you for your testimony. Chair calls Dennis Burrell. And I've got you as Dennis Burrell, Coalition of Texans with Disabilities for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I've got Laura Durkin on deck.
Thanks. It's a pleasure being here. It's not that long a day. I think there's going to be longer ones. So a couple of things. You know, peer support services have been around for some time. They're well well established. In fact, they're considered evidence-based care by CMS. Over 39 states have peer support services in their Medicaid programs, including the state of Texas. The difference being that the first part of peer support went into the mental health, substance abuse disorder realm, the disability area there. This is adding intellectual and developmental disabilities. It helps people navigate the community, develop goals, increase their self-determination, become better, more included citizens. Now, folks, I've been working for the Coalition of Texans with Disabilities for 23 years. My members are people with disabilities. My coworkers are people with disabilities. I socialize with people with disabilities. I think I enjoy a pretty high level of trust in the disability community, but you know what? I really haven't walked a mile in their shoes, and I can't replicate that. I can't really give them advice on what it is like to wake up in the morning living with a disability and mapping out your day, thinking the accommodations you need. Did you do what might be considered a normal life? I think that this is an amazing bill. Thank you, Representative Campos. I'm proud, by the way, that it has a zero fiscal note. Okay? And that tells me two things. This isn't going to be a real big program, but it's going to be highly impactful for those who benefit from these services. The other last thing is there's a workforce issue in all disability services. This will help fill that gap in the workforce with actually fairly modestly paid positions by people who bring exceptional credentials. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burrell. Any questions? Thank you for being here.
I just want to say.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you
Representative
for being here and for
Campos.
everything that you do. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Back at you, ma'am.
Back at you. All right, Chair calls Lauren Gherkin, excuse me. And while you're coming up, I show you as Lauren Gherkin, Texas Council for Developmental Disabilities on the bill. Is that correct? Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for sticking around with us. Representative Campos, you kind of stole a lot of my testimony from me. So I'm not going to reiterate what's been said. I know y'all don't like that and don't need that. What I will say is we are run by a governor-appointed board, 27 council members that the governor selects, and they have on a couple of occasions identified peer supports and peer work as a funding priority in Texas, recognizing the benefit and the need. So we've been able to administer funds to create pilot programs to see, what is the need, right? Is there a need in Texas? Will it work? What does it accomplish? And we have seen accomplishments like creating their own person-centered plans, where a person with a disability can develop goals for their lives. We've seen employment increases, where getting peer support means a person knows how to navigate employment supports or knows who to talk to about getting work. So there has been a proven benefit to the peer support programs. As it's been said, it is not a novel idea. There are models in existence that can be replicated both from the state and from the programs that we have funded. I'm delighted that we have some of our grantees here to talk about what they've done more. But I will just close by saying, divine intervention. As I arrived here this morning at 8 o'clock, I ran into a woman who stopped me and I was walking down the hallway, and she said, "Hey, can I ask you something?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Were you born with cerebral palsy?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Okay, I have a nephew with cerebral palsy. He's 9 years old. Can we sit and talk for a minute?" And we sat and we talked for about 40 minutes. So I guess it's a good thing that the bill came last. But we just sat and we talked. And I answered her questions about what it's like to have cerebral palsy and what services I had in school and how I navigated employment and the fact that I'm getting a PhD. And at the end of it, she just kind of sat back for a minute and took a breath. I'm like, "Are you okay?" Thinking I'm completely overwhelmed. And this poor lady who thought she was going to ask me a couple of questions and send me on my way. And she said, "I feel so much better. I feel hopeful. I really want you to meet my nephew. Will you be willing to do that?" And I said, "Of course." And I gave her my phone number. She said, "I want you to meet his mom. I want you to meet him. I want him to see what a person with cerebral palsy can become." So, what Dennis said is correct. There is support that you can get from your doctors and your therapists and your teachers and your parents. But there's something to be said for seeing somebody like you do something that you're not quite sure of your ability to do yet. So, we've seen it happen. There are models. I'm on the bill. You know, we don't take positions, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about projects and what we've seen them do and accomplish. I will follow up with each of your offices with an electronic copy because there is a link that you obviously can click on paper where you can go look at project summaries and kind of see what they've done for community members. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. You are amazing, as always. Members, any questions?
Just thank you so much for being here and for your strength and supporting others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now.
Chair calls Jordan Smelly. What's that?
That's why I don't sit there, 'cause I can't get up. Jeez.
I'm sorry, sir. I've got you as Jordan Smelly, self for the bill. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, very good. Now, show nobody else wishing to testify, so please get registered if you are.
Hello, Chair Frank, Vice Chair Rose, and other members of the House Human Services Committee. My name is Jordan Smelly. I am a certified mental health peer specialist, as well as I'm a person with intellectual and developmental disabilities. First, I would like to thank the committee for giving HB 4702 a hearing and thank all the people and organizations who have provided me support with this effort. The main reason I am speaking today is to ask for this committee's support in expanding an avenue of support as well as career pathway to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities living in the community. As a certified mental health peer specialist that has worked in the field, the one thing I can attest to is not every certified mental health peer specialist or recovery support peer specialist in Texas have the personal lived experience with intellectual and developmental disabilities, which can include experiences with delays in social skill development. So that includes the ability to be doing what I'm doing right now. It includes the ability to be able to recognize red flags. It includes the ability to read nonverbal language. It includes the ability to understand different topics are appropriate for different settings. It can also include navigating complex systems of support like Medicaid, HCBS waivers, and Texas Workforce Vocational Rehabilitation Program. These are all things that not everyone with mental health or substance use have to navigate, but many people with IDD do. Finally, the Texas House, Senate, and Governor Greg Abbott all signified understanding and agreement to the importance of peer support specialists in Texas having personal lived experience when during the 85th legislative session, HB 1486 was signed into law on June 15, 2017, and that recognition of the importance of personal lived experience is why HB 4702 should pass. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I'll be willing to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Honestly, I wouldn't have wanted to follow Ms. Gerken, but you nailed it. So thank you very much. You did a great job. Members, any questions?
Just a comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Smalley. Great job.
Ramos.
Very impressive, and thank you for being here the whole day and letting us hear from you. It's a privilege, so thank you.
Yes, this was my
Good job.
first time, so it's been a very educational experience.
And very long day.
So, yes.
You were talking about being able to, what is it, read people, and I was like, yeah, you probably read a lot of people today. Some of them, I'm afraid what you might have read. So, members, any other questions?
Just a photo. Can you get a photo of him?
Yes.
My phone's not working.
Yeah.
Good job.
Awesome. Thank you very much. At this time, there are no other witnesses signed up to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on, for, or against House Bill 4702? Seeing none, public testimony is closed, and the chair recognizes Representative Campos to close on House Bill 4702.
So HB 4702 is about supporting people with IDD in building the lives they choose with determination, dignity, meaning, and connection. Again, I want to just thank all the witnesses for being here all day long, and thank you for all that you do. With that, I respectfully ask for your support, and I close.
All right, the committee thank you very much. The committee substitute is withdrawn. If there's no objection, the bill will be left pending. The chair is none, and House Bill 4702 is left pending without objection.